Welcome to the Purple Chair podcast with 20 to 1, where we have conversations for change. I'm your podcast host, Elida. I'm also a 20 to 1 intern. This is our very first podcast, and I'm very excited to be interviewing our program's founder, Dara Raboy.
Thank you for having me. This is wonderful.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. Do you like the chairs?
Oh my gosh, they're amazing.
Yeah,
I
we
love
just
the
ordered
purple
them.
chairs.
Yes, very
Great
exciting.
place to have conversation.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, if you don't know about 20 to 1, we are a interpersonal violence prevention program. We try to educate and raise awareness to all students on campus on sexual assault prevention, bystander intervention, and we do this through presentations, tabling events, and through social media outreach. That's great. All right. Okay, so we will get right into the interview. So, Dara, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I am a clinical social worker and have been in the field for over 30 years.
Wow.
I got into prevention work in the 2000s, where I was still doing clinical work, but also wanted to sort of work on the other side of the social work field. My area of expertise has been around trauma and sexual trauma specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was at the University Counseling Center, I saw, a lot of survivors of sexual trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And there were just some things that got me thinking about the prevention side when they would talk about their experiences, um, and things that seemed sort of common in their stories. And so I thought maybe um, trying to address this issue from the prevention side of things could be helpful.
Yeah, and that's a great way to transition into my next question, which is, what inspired you to lead this program?
So again, some of it was from clients where I just was thinking, things there are these commonalities of where things happened or the way that
Mm-hmm.
assault was happened in terms of you know um, incapacitation from alcohol or coercion, that kind of thing. So I was seeing these sort of themes,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I had been part of a committee that was looking at programming for incoming students.
Mm-hmm.
And after that committee was done with that work, I thought, well, we should continue this because there are certain groups on campus that are most at risk for either perpetration or victimization.
Yeah, definitely.
So I talked to some of my colleagues, and we started exploring the possibility of creating a men's program, specifically men talking to men who are in fraternities.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the reason for that was that up until that point in, around 2002, um, all of the programming around prevention was geared towards women, telling women what not to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it didn't change the rates of sexual assault at all for decades.
Yeah.
So it was a time period when men's programming was being talked about. And so myself and my colleague Jack Casso and Juan Rosario, we got a lot of training in how to do men's programming, how to recruit men, peer educators who could do this work.
Wow. So it seems like this program has grown a lot since its start.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Can you
has.
can you tell us about some of the strides we've made since then?
Sure. We were a very small program when we started. We had about 5 fraternity men who did all the programming.
Wow.
They were not paid. They did not get internship credit.
Mm-hmm.
They did it because they really wanted to make change.
Yeah. That's great. It shows the passion and the dedication toward this issue.
Absolutely.
That's where it all began. Yeah.
Absolutely. And over time, it became a credit bearing internship. And we present to more and more student groups, so fraternities, sororities, athletics, incoming students. In fact, this last summer, we presented to 4,000 incoming students over the course of 4 days
Wow.
in small groups. with 24 peer educators being trained to do that work.
Wow, that's
So
incredible.
yeah, so that was a big change for our programming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what were some of the challenges starting the program?
I think the main challenge was myself and Jack and Juan. We had full time positions here doing other things.
Mhm.
So one of the challenges was, the university giving us some time out of that normal routine to work on this program. And so that might have started out like a half day a week, and then it got bigger as time went
Yeah.
on, as the program got bigger. Um, we had no budget at the beginning. Um, as you know, because you're an intern, we have a pretty good sized budget now for
Yeah.
programming.
We got the green screen, we got
Yeah,
the mics.
mics, everything,
We're decked
purple
out.
chairs. We got
Yes,
the purple
yes.
chairs.
Don't forget about those.
So, I would literally, for how we give giveaways out to at
Yeah, yeah,
programming and
yeah.
tabling.
We have like the candy and the chapstick and the
Yeah,
little
the
cup
little
holders.
bears.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have
got that little bear there, the cute little bear.
cute bear.
So, I would literally call offices that I knew had things like alumni office and say, "Do you have any leftovers from this or
Really?
that?" Yeah, and that was how we supplied our giveaways and
Wow.
our shirts and stuff at the beginning.
That is so inspiring though. You're really working with scraps to have a positive impact on the community. That's
Yeah, when I
incredible.
present to other colleges, they ask, "How do you fund this?" And I said, "You really don't need the money to fund it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
great to have the money to do more,
Yeah.
but you don't have to have the money to get it rolling."
Yeah, definitely. We're just working with what we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So, Dara, I'm wondering, what is your favorite part about running this program?
Well, my favorite part is actually working with students. Um, I think that has been inspiring for me. Um, to see how many young people care about this topic and want to create culture change.
Mhm.
And that it's not like students from a specific major, because a lot of people would think that most of the students would be interested in this who are in, a field that's a helping field.
Mhm.
But we have students from who are going to be engineers, doctors, lawyers, just every sort of field,
Mhm.
um, and from all different interests, whether it be athletes or art majors, whatever. And I think that it tells me that students just really are passionate about creating change.
Mhm.
And for me, that's very inspiring. And they're a lot of fun and they keep me young. I get
We can tell, yeah.
fashion tips, all kinds of things.
Yeah, we can tell you stay young.
The new lingo, the whatever the latest lingo is, they teach me that stuff.
I bet, I bet. I've seen it actually. But yeah, no, I think that's great. We're all very different in our background, but the one commonality we have is that we're all so passionate about this issue and,
Absolutely.
you know, just creating a positive impact.
Yeah.
Okay, Dara, I'm wondering Stop. I'm
Like I said.
wondering what your favorite event in this program is.
Oh, wow, that's a good question because there's so many really nice events that we do.
Yeah.
I think for me, we do two art installations that I think are very powerful. One is What Were You Wearing, which is an art installation that challenges the myth around clothing having something to do with why a person perpetrates or. And it looks at the victim blaming myth of, why were you wearing that?
Mhm.
The other one is the Dragon Panel Project, which is a very powerful art installation that honors women of color globally who have been victims of some form of interpersonal violence or political violence. And we actually were the first university to do that art installation
Oh,
on
really?
campus nationwide. Yeah.
Wow.
Um, and so that's one that we're going to do this year at 1 Billion Rising, which is sponsored by the social work department on February 13th in the um,
You
Old
old.
Union
Yep.
Hall. Yep. Okay, I couldn't come up with it.
There we got it.
Old Union Hall, from 11 to 1, and the dragons will be on display there, as well as our tabling, which is another event I love because we do in February Learn to Love Better.
Yes.
So we're going to be
Yeah.
tabling with our Learn to Love Better about healthy and unhealthy relationships.
Yeah, so it kind of fits right in with the theme. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about our upcoming event, Sexapalooza?
Sure. So Sexapalooza is put on by the Dean of Students office, and we participate in that event. So we're going to have our table. Look for our tabling out there on February 14th from 8 to midnight, I believe, 8 p.m. And our tabling is focused on helping students to learn about BDSM and consent.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have a room 108, where we're going to, I think it's 108, where we're in the Union, where we're going to have our Jeopardy game with some really fun prizes.
Yes.
And we're going to use pop culture to talk about interpersonal violence.
Yeah, we do have very fun prizes, but yeah, we're very excited about that. It's definitely,
We have a penis charcuterie board we're
I heard
giving away.
about that.
Yeah.
I'm very jealous. I
Yeah.
want one.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're very
Amazon.
excited about that. It's very new, it's nothing like, it's not like anything we've really done before. So it's going to be nice to kind of expand our horizons and, see how to further educate, those around us.
Yeah.
So, Dara, can you tell us a little bit about what our interns do with the program? Not just interns, but the graduate assistants and.
So we have this year 18 undergraduate interns. And then we have interns from the social work school, and we have two student assistants who were former interns, and we also have two GAs. So this program has gotten really big from,
Hmm.
when we think about five unpaid um,
Yeah.
men at the beginning. So it's really expanded, and this year we did something different. We saw need around building up our social media, around advocacy, and events planning, so it wasn't left to like one person.
Hmm.
So we formed these groups and so you're obviously in the social media group. We
Yes.
have all this equipment. We're starting a podcast. You guys started a TikTok, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
That's up and running.
Expanded our Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've done a
Yeah.
lot of great work.
Yeah. It's
Um,
funny that you mentioned that this is a new thing because I didn't even know that. I thought this has been a thing for years now. It seemed like it flowed very well and the student assistants were able to like run everything very smoothly. So
yeah,
that's incredible.
and I think the idea was we just wanted to expand it more, and not have sort of one person overseeing the whole thing. So we have this whole group now with these
Yeah.
project groups, and everyone is so creative and has different strengths, and so it's really advanced our social media this year.
Yeah. I completely
Um,
agree.
and our advocacy group is looking actually to help get us New York State law passed that would close a loophole around incapacitation and sexual assault. So that's also an important thing, that we have this whole group doing this advocacy work on a New York State legislation. And our events group works on planning all of our events and making sure those run smoothly. So
Yeah.
that's a exciting addition to our program this year.
No, I think it's so great. It's not only are we, making a difference on campus, but we're also making a difference in New York State and
Absolutely.
beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, this program has received both statewide and national recognition for the program. Um, and that's actually not a new thing. In 2014, the Department of Defense spent 3 days with us to learn all about the 20 to 1
Oh,
program.
wow.
And we did some training for the military bases at that
Really?
time. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah, it was really cool. We
goodness.
did a webinar for they had every military base on this webinar,
Oh my god.
and they've incorporated some of our programming, like the consent activity that we
Mhm.
do.
Yeah.
with the red light and
Yeah,
red
yeah, yeah. The
stoplight.
traffic light
Yeah,
scenario. Yeah.
they've incorporated some of that into some of the military training they
Wow,
have.
that's incredible.
Yeah. So, so it's been exciting. Oftentimes a few times a year, we consult with other universities who want to create something like what we do instead of just having a professional staff kind of talking at people or, they want to know how do you get the peers interested? How do you get the
Mhm.
students organized?
Yeah,
And
I think it definitely helps reach the students when they're hearing about this topic from other students cuz it's
absolutely.
not something that we're just preaching, it's something that everyone should care about.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. It definitely that peer-to-peer conversation is much more powerful than if I just was talking
Mhm.
to a group of students.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as impactful as you are. But yeah.
And youthful.
Yes, youthful, don't forget. Dara, what is one message that you wish everyone would take with them from this program?
That's a great question. So I can think of two off the top of my head. Is it okay if I do two
Yeah,
instead of
yeah,
one?
go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. I want to break the rules or podcast rules.
No rules.
Um, So the first thing is about not harming another person. I feel that's a big part of our message is not about asking for consent because that's the legal, that's the law, but asking for consent because you don't want to harm the person you're with. And so the big message to me is around learning about consent, learning what a healthy relationship looks like so that you aren't potentially harming someone else. Um, and then the second thing is around bystander intervention, that I think it's everyone's responsibility to speak up, to stand up, to tell someone when they're doing something harmful, whether that be, actually physically harming someone or participating in, say, rape culture that,
Mhm.
ends up harming people.
Yeah.
Um, so those would be the two big things. And I think sometimes or most of the time it's a lot easier to like look at other people's behavior and say, oh,
Mhm.
that's wrong, that's wrong. But we want people really to be reflective of their own behavior and think about how they, like I was saying earlier, learn to love better, learn to
Yeah.
do better in relationships, learn to treat people better.
Yeah. And I think our presentations and even our tabling events when we read off questions of scenarios and have people, reflect on, whether it's unhealthy or healthy and all of those little intricacies. I think it's really great because it helps people to reflect on what they're doing. It's not just them learning information, but it's them applying it to like real life scenarios.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what, one of the things we strive for is for our scenarios and our activities to really reflect the real experiences of our student body. And that's why we have our interns writing the scenarios, telling us when they're outdated, updating them, because if it's not meaningful and realistic to the audience, then we're
What's
not
the
going to be able
point?
to educate them. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
I completely agree. So, Dara, what is one challenge often faced by individuals in the 20 to 1 program?
Um, I think there's a few. So I think when our interns come in, they're pretty nervous about speaking publicly and speaking about such a difficult topic.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, and But when they leave the program, they can literally talk about anything in front of anyone, because if you can talk about sex and sexual assault and consent in front of, 50 incoming students, you can pretty much talk about anything. And so I think the challenge is around public speaking, but they quickly build up their confidence.
Yeah.
Um, I think sometimes there's challenging situations in a presentation, like people not paying attention or people saying problematic things.
Mhm.
Um, so that can be a challenge for our interns. Um, I think also just we're dealing with a topic that's really heavy and that can be triggering and upsetting.
Mhm.
Um, and I just think that's a challenge. So, we talk about how to have a sense of humor and how to take care of yourself
Mhm.
when there's, something really challenging that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you mentioned how, people receiving these presentations, it can sometimes be maybe frustrating for the individual
Yeah.
presenting if they aren't paying attention or if they're, making problematic comments. Um, can you go into what you tell us when we discuss our frustrations?
Yeah, sure. Because I think that can be really frustrating and discouraging when, because our interns are so passionate about this work, and
Hmm.
so can really, be discouraging. I mean, one of the things I tell the interns is that, if you have a group that's quiet, say, that's less involved, it doesn't mean they're not learning.
Hmm.
Um, if you have someone who's saying problematic things, this is only one moment in time where you're educating them. You may not see them have their aha moment then. And I oftentimes tell the story. We were, doing a freshman presentation years ago, and someone was saying really problematic things. And at some point, the presenter just had to move on. Like the person wasn't getting it.
Hmm.
Well, that same person came up to our presenter months later in the library and apologized and said, "Look, I was I got this message a certain way, like within their, where they were raised, and said, uh, I learned and I learned from you, and then I learned being in classes, and I'm really sorry." And it was a very genuine apology. So I tell that story to the interns so that they can see that this is a process.
Hmm.
Everything might not happen in one moment. And that you may have a couple people distracting from the presentation, but the majority are getting something out of it. And we know that because we do pre and post surveys,
Yeah.
so we
Yeah.
really know what students are getting out of it, what they like, what they don't like, um, what they learn, from the presentation. So I think that's how I really try to encourage our interns to keep going and keep the hope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I honestly think that's a message that you can even apply to bystander intervention
Yes.
because it can be frightening and overwhelming at times, but even if the individual that you're confronting doesn't fully understand or if they give you sass or whatever it may be, it's reinforcing this idea that we want to prevent harm.
Absolutely, and I always think, of it as we're starting a conversation, or it's a piece of the conversation.
Mhm.
We're not the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how this all begins, like preventing interpersonal violence. It just
Yes.
starts with these
Yep.
small acts. If anybody remembers from our presentation, we have the rape culture pyramid. So
Absolutely.
we
Yeah.
got to start chopping it
Chop.
down.
Yep.
Yep.
Knocking it down little
Yep.
by little.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. So, as we wrap up, I was wondering what your future goals for this program are.
Um, my biggest goal is to keep it going.
Yeah.
um, we um, we will continue to do much of what we did this year. I think one of the my goals is to reach more student groups. Um, And so again, we present to just about every fraternity, sorority, every athlete,
Mhm.
almost all incoming students. We go into univ classes, that kind of thing. But I would like to, there are other groups that I think would be great to be able to present to.
Yeah.
Um, I also have a goal. I'm actually working with social work on this to train social work interns in the bystander program so that they can go into the schools and teach bystander
Oh,
intervention,
really?
because our goal is around training college students.
Mhm.
So it's really not our we don't have the time, or it's really not our charge to go
Yeah.
into middle schools or high schools, but
Yeah.
we do have students, social work interns in all of those schools.
Yeah.
So that's something we're exploring as well that I'm really excited about.
That sounds really exciting. Yeah, just expanding our impact,
Yeah,
to not just college students, but, everyone.
absolutely.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe even like coming up with new and innovative ways of educating others, like brainstorming new ideas. We have
Absolutely.
our little scenarios for tabling events now. Maybe we'll come up with new and fun ideas
Yeah,
in
and
the
that's what's
future.
great about working with students because they know what is going to engage
Mhm.
their peers,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so that's, what I love about the discussions with the interns is hearing these ideas um, and learning the changes of what now will engage the student body in this conversation.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
letting me interview you.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. All right. Well, that wraps up our very first Purple Chair podcast. Thank you all for tuning in and make sure to be on the lookout for our next episode coming soon. Bye.
Bye.
So should
th-
Nope,
Nope, you
that's
said
about
it
it.
all.
Okay. Are we doing good?
We'll redo it.
Barely see. I can't see Jordan at all. Yeah. Oh, I see
there
Jordan.
you are.
Okay.
Did you put it in the
You put it in the
fridge?
fridge?
Okay.
Yeah, so we have a big group. Did I say that all right? Did I say who's in the group yet? Or was that during practice?
There's two-part penis charcuterie board. It's the first place prize.
You have to wait for the same. Okay. I'm ready.